Ho ho boardies, welcome to Borderline Games. I'm Gareth and this is the Chrono Jotter, which so far, aside from some weird supernatural stuff it seems, i.e. our character called Ranabuki appearing in a random school with only 7 other female students who have been living here for the past year with no contact with anybody else, and weird like visions that Ibuki's having all the time. It seems like a normal kind of slice of life game. Currently a 6 out of 10 for the slice of life. It's a bit boring. Anyway, we're going to see if something exciting happens in this episode. Stick around. I have said it's boring, but maybe it's not going to be boring. So, someone has just come and said, "Good morning, everyone." Who is that? Mayhaps. An unfamiliar voice came from above. Ran slowly turned her head and saw a new face. "So, counting this girl, I've seen 6 people now. Just missing the last one, then." "Hmm? Ah, you're... why is there a stranger here?" "Feels like I've heard that response a billion times today by now." "Good morning. My name is Ranabuki, and I got lost and arrived here by accident." "Lost? Here? How could that be?" The girl seemed somewhat panicked and looked towards the rest of her classmates for support. Aya flashed a big OK sign at her with both hands. "Don't worry, Prez. Ran-chan is a good classmate." "Well, except for how she's an extremely suspicious outsider and all." "Wait, give me a moment to calm down." The class president laid a hand on her chest and took a couple of deep breaths before straightening herself and speaking. "Ran-chan, it's nice to meet you. My name is Koizumi Hinata. Let me just make a quick picture of you. I'm the class president. I'd like to formally welcome you to our class." "Thanks, but my name is Ranabuki, not Ran-chan." "Look, Miss President, I'm just trying to figure out a way to get out of here. I don't plan to join the class, and besides, I'm not even from here in the first place." "Do you know a way to get out of here, Class President?" "It's unfortunate, but the only path out of here, the tunnel, can't be used at the moment." "Heard that one a billion times as well today." "Okay, so do you know when it might be fixed then?" "I don't know either. But it won't have any effect on our life here at school, so you don't need to worry about it at all, Ibuki-san. Come on, let's get you up to the front of the class so you can introduce yourself." "Huh? Why?" "No, Prez, I'm not a transfer Go on up there, Ibuki. I thought you liked to run your mouth." "Oh, it's Sai." "Going up there, Ibuki. I thought you liked to run your mouth." Sai entered the classroom from the rear entrance and took a seat in the second furthest row from the front, still carrying a bag in her hands. "Yorono." Ran realised that everyone in the class was looking at her now, with Koizumi's expression being particularly enthusiastic. "If I keep refusing, it'll just make my presence here awkward. There's no need for me to push back against all of them at the same time. I wonder if Yorono picked this moment to show up on purpose, though." "Alright then. As you wish, President." Koizumi looked quite pleased and, without even setting her own school bag down first, grabbed Ran and started to pull her towards the lectern. But she moved too quickly and inadvertently tripped over one of the corners of the lectern. At that moment, Ran... Okay. I could stepped up and caught the class president is what I should try to do, but I need to see what my So I need 2 more temporary points if I want to do that. Is it going to let me? Okay, cool. I've got 6. I'm going to catch her. Ah! Whoa. Class rep. Ran dashed forward, catching Koizumi with her left hand and a school bag with the right, just like Spider-Man. Are you okay, class president? I'm fine, thank you. Ran noticed that Koizumi had taken a sharp intake of breath just then, as though she'd been panicked or scared about something. Ran decided to say something to try to calm her down. The past me would surely never have thought of such a thing. It's all thanks to Miss Sakura's support that I've been capable of engaging with strangers. You smell quite lovely this morning, class president. What brand of shampoo do you use? Lovely? Is it that lovely? I don't remember. This morning I used someone else's shampoo while showering at the dorms. Kozumi's hands clung tightly onto Ran's shoulders, and the place of her breathing quickly became quite irregular. Oh? Wait, what's this? Ran happened to still be holding Kozumi's school bag with her right hand, and she noticed that she could feel a strange texture in her palm. What is this in here? It's soft, not like a textbook at all, and when I apply pressure it makes a sound. Is it a teddy bear? A plastic bag. And it feels like there's something thick and slippery inside. Gross. Ibuki-san, I'm fine now. Excuse me. Ran let go, allowing Koizumi to stand up on her own. Only then did she notice that Koizumi was blushing furiously and that she was studiously avoiding Ran's eyes. Is there something wrong, President? Do you have a fever? No, just... got a crush is what she's got. When you embraced me just now, Ibuki-san, I just got a little nervous so my heartbeat went into disarray. Huh. I hadn't pegged you for a jokester, class president. No, I really was. No, never mind. Suddenly, I arose with a shout. Class president, did I just see you and the transfer student embracing each other? What? No, Ibuki-san just stopped me from falling. That's all. You clearly saw me almost trip, didn't you, Toyama-sama? Hiya, don't make fun of Hinata. Okay, got it. After Miho finished speaking, I sat back down in a seat obediently. My apologies. I've made a laughing stock of myself before all of you. First time I've ever heard anyone say the word laughing stock in everyday conversation. Really? Please, proceed with your self-introduction, Ibuki-san. Sure. Try to be more careful, class president. Ran stepped up to the lectern and swept her gaze over all the students in the classroom. President, should I really start my introduction now? Aren't we missing someone? Ah, that's right, she hasn't arrived yet. The class president's response seems a bit strange. Sakura-san hasn't shown up yet. Well, she woke up even earlier when I did this morning, I'd have thought. Oh, that's interesting. So, Sakura is one of the girls in this school. Sakura is our girlfriend, who we're trying to find who's gone missing. If I didn't say that at the top. Someone with the same family name as Miss Sakura. Now I'm worried about meeting them. Hinata, have you forgotten? Miho spoke lightly, with her fingers interwoven and steepled. We picked lots yesterday. Whoa. It's possible that she's the victim this time round. Okay, things are getting exciting. Victim. Ran ruminated on this strange phrase, one which wasn't supposed to show up in a regular conversation between high school students. What are they talking about? If Miss Sakura was the victim, then she might already be dead, right? Dead? Oops. Ran let out a small shriek. Gosh, this round's killer sure got right to work. What are you all talking about? Then, according to the rules, we're going to have to cancel this morning's class and skip right to the coursework. As soon as Sai finished speaking, she picked up her bag and left her seat. Ran looked about in bewilderment, hoping someone would explain things to her, but the others were also cleaning up their things and getting ready to leave. I saw Sakura earlier this morning while swimming. It's possible her corpse is somewhere around there. Let's go and... Hold on! Ran couldn't stand the growing stress in her heart anymore. She felt like she was going to explode from the pressure if she didn't do something about it. Just what are you all trying to say? That person who didn't show up, you called her... Sakura. Ran couldn't breathe and she couldn't say the name. She lost control of her heartbeat again and clenched her fists until her fingernails pierced the skin of her palm to forcibly regain control over her emotions. Ran had to take several deep breaths before she was able to speak normally again. That person who hasn't shown up yet. What did you say happened to her? Koizumi approached Ran, seeming rather concerned about Ran's sudden irregular behaviour. What's wrong? Ibuki-san? Are you feeling unwell? Forget that! Answer me! Ran's outburst stunned Koizumi slightly, who froze up without giving her an answer. Miho, seeing the situation, intervened quickly and spoke. It's as they said. The person who hasn't shown up yet has most likely already been killed. And the killer is one of the 6 of us. Got a Danganronpa situation on our hands. Hearing those words, Ran's brow furrowed. She looked at everyone in the room, trying to divine from their expressions if this was some practical joke. They were all playing on her to no avail. The stress that immediately came upon her afterwards pushed her half to her knees, and she was forced to lean on the wall for support as she broke out into a sweat again. She felt the urge to dry heave, a sign that her illness was about to act up again, and when she gets ill, she needs to eat pages of her diary, which is another weird thing that has not been properly explained. But she didn't want to reveal those symptoms to anyone in this room. An image of a torn sheet of paper flashed through her mind once again. You're saying that you've killed someone? We've already said it a bunch of times, haven't we? Yes, one of our classmates has been killed by someone in this class. They once again confirmed the truth of this bizarre situation. What's going on? What the fuck is happening in this school? What kind of place have I been brought to? Weren't things fine just a moment ago? How did it suddenly become like... By this point, the other students had encircled Ran, who was squatting on the floor. They were all looking at her. But Ran, the subject of their gaze, was afraid to look up at them, for fear that she'd see that their faces had already begun to melt. Ibuki, why are you freaking out? Why should I not be freaking out? Ran was quietly hyperventilating. Forget seeing the corpse, just your nonchalant attitude. And the way you're all talking about something like this is enough to make me want to panic like a crab in a deep fryer. I sure ain't never seen a crab that can still crack a joke like that, after it's already been thrown in the fryer. Ran used the periphery of her vision to peek at Sai's face. It didn't look like there were any irregularities. She relaxed slightly at that, and slowly raised her head to look at the other students. You don't look like you're putting up an act. Miho bent down and began to gently stroke Ran's back. I'm responsible for filling the role of the school nurse here. Let me take a look at you. No, I think the missing person is the one who really needs your attention right now. Miho chuckled a little. You're absolutely right. If you think there's nothing wrong with yourself, then stand up and come along, and let's go find the corpse together. Miho offered a hand for Ran to take as she turned to speak to Sai. Yuruno-san, lead the way, if you will. Sure thing. Fair warning, though, I don't actually know if her corpse is really there. All I know is that I saw her hanging around there while I was swimming. Miho pulled Ran to her feet and then nodded at Sai. I think it's quite likely that's the place, then. After all, Anne hardly ever visits the swimming pool. So it is, Anne Sakura is, a girlfriend, right? No, it's not on here. But it is, right? That's true. I've never seen Anne go swimming of her own volition. So she might well have met with the killer there before getting killed. Then we should get going quickly. It'd be pitiful to leave Anne there all by herself for too long. We should deal with it sooner rather than later, so that she can be at peace, right? Just as the three of them finished speaking, a loud noise came from the direction of the lectern. Ran, who just managed to get to her feet, had once again fallen to her knees. Trembling all over, she seized Miho's wrists with both hands. Ran stared at her with such intensity that even the normally unflappable Miho Takai was startled, flinching backwards instinctively. That person who didn't come, the one you said might have been killed, what was their name? Right, so this is some, like, weird persona that Ran has that we've seen before. But that's not been explained either. Miho seemed like she was suppressing her own disordered thoughts to keep herself calm. She turned her wrists and grabbed Ran's hand, trying to pull her off the ground. But Ran's tight grasp on her almost caused Miho to collapse instead. Answer me! What was her name? What's up with you? Alright, I really don't know why you have to ask about this right now, but... The name of the person we've been talking about is Anne Sakura. Ran has updated her notes. Ranabuki had always liked the rain. She especially loved it when it started storming without warning. Watching strangers outside her window scrambling around for shelter while she hid safely at home gave her an indescribable sense of security. When she told Anne about this, her love asked her, "But how would you feel if I were the one trapped in the rain?" How did I answer her back then? Ran trailed behind everyone else as they headed toward the place where Sai said she had last seen Anne. She didn't say a word and only occasionally looked up towards the sky, watching the dark clouds slowly converge. If Sakura-san knew she might be killed, why would she go over there at all in the first place? She's always been pretty cooperative with her killers. She never put up much of a fight whenever I was supposed to kill her either. What are we talking about here? Seems like killing isn't permanent here. Maybe it is. The students ahead of her all seemed quite at ease. They'd spent the whole trip discussing Anne and the murder with each other. Ah, that's true. Whenever it's Anne's turn to be the victim, the culprit always tends to strike quickly. There's going to be some weird game that they play. It's all make-believe. That'd be lame. Now hang on. You shouldn't let yourself get spoiled just because Anne's so easy to work with. If we keep relying on her cooperation, then we'll have to change the rules eventually. Shouldn't we just focus on who the culprit is first anyways? If she really did die near the swimming pool, that wouldn't make me the prime suspect. Then wouldn't that make me the prime suspect? Does that mean Yurono-san the culprit then? Oh, that's Yurono. Indira, let me tell you, it's not a bad thing to be straightforward. But you're not going to find the answer that way. Hey, it's not like she's completely straightforward. Tama frequently surprises us all with the things she chooses to do. Isn't that right, Tama? Tama shook her head fiercely. I just picked up a few things from my books, is all. Because I hadn't had the chance to read often before. And despite knowing my methods, Asukura-san never exposed me before. It should just be Sakura, shouldn't it? It's not Asukura. Oh, it is a Sakura. Is her girlfriend called Sakura then? Is that why I've got those mixed up? Well, we did read those books together after all. Listening to the students' conversations, Ran began scratching her scalp again, but didn't stop the pressure from rising within her. Hey, are you okay? Slowing her steps, Miho came to Ran's side. No, I'm fine. Shouldn't you be happy that I'm suffering anyways? I thought you hated me. Ran turned her head away, not wanting to speak to Miho. You're making me sound like some kind of psychopath. I don't hate you, okay? I wanted to know why you showed up here at our school. Miho tilted her head slightly and inspected Ran's face carefully. Pale face, trembling lips, pupil dilations, pretty unnatural too. Heavy headache? A bit. Miho pressed her hand against Ran's forehead for a moment. Well, at least there's no fever. Alright, I can probably imagine what you're thinking. You knew Anne previously, didn't you? I could tell from your uniform. The other students should have noticed as well. So once you heard she'd been killed, you weren't able to wrap your mind around the idea, which is why you're in your present condition. The first time we went through all of this, we had pretty much the same reaction as you did. But once we got used to it, we found that it wasn't a big deal after all. As soon as Miho had stopped speaking, Ran seized Miho's shoulder with a sudden hand. Noticing that something wasn't right, the others stopped as well. Got used to what? Murdering your own classmates? Or discussing the deceased with mockery? Just explain to me. Why do you have to do things like this? You've really committed murder. Don't be so quick to judge things you don't understand, Ibuki. Well, make me understand then, damn it. Explain what exactly it is that you've done clearly. Ran felt Miho pressing a hand onto Ran's, so she turned her head and met Miho's eyes. Ibuki-san, please calm down. Let's find Anne's corpse first, then we'll explain everything to you properly. Right now, even if we try to tell you everything, you still have a hard time comprehending it, but if you see the corpse, I'm sure you'll understand as well. Ran's hand trembled and she shook her head helplessly. How could I possibly understand? Ran let go of Miho. Now it was Miho's turn to take hold of Ran's shoulder. Let's go. Don't worry, Ibuki-san. Sakura-san will be okay. Faced with Tama's supportive words, Ran had no idea how she was supposed to respond. She could only force out the barest of grimaces. Sakura-san, will the swimming pool freeze this year as well? Yeah, the temperature's already gotten pretty low. It'll probably freeze over very soon. Yurono, you should consider spending less time swimming too. If you get a cramp in the swimming pool during the winter, I definitely won't jump in to save you. It's not like I've ever seen you there, even when it wasn't winter. Plus, I'm used to it already. It'll be fine. Used to it? Oh, once it shows again, we can build snowmen in the courtyard again. Let's build a Chibi Miho in the snow together. Sai-chan? You bringing that back up on purpose? Oh, that one time Sai-chan got killed, they hid your corpse in a snowman, didn't they? Almost scared me to death when I went to shovel up the snow that day. All I can say is that sure is Tama for you, always exceeding our expectations. Don't. Tama's embarrassed expression made everyone crack up. So, clearly, they die all the time, it's no big deal, and it's almost like a form of entertainment for them. I guess. Is this school cursed or something? Are they all ghosts? What in the hell? We're almost there. See the old shower room up ahead? I saw Sakura go in there this morning. Ran lifted her head, looking where Sai was pointing. I even found it odd at the time, since I only ever used the new shower room on the other end myself. The old showers are much less convenient. So that's where Miss Sakura is right now. Ran took a few steps forward, eyes glued on the showers. Ibuki-san. Ran rushed towards the old shower room and pushed Miho, who was standing in front of her, out of the way with one hand. Ibuki-san! Ran's footsteps grew faster and faster. She knocked Sai's shoulder out of the way as she charged forward. Ran rushed into the shower room that Sai had indicated, clutching the frame of the door. She stared at the girl leaning against the wall before her. Ran pulled her shoulders in, not sure where she should put her hands. She flailed her arms meaninglessly in the air as though she'd forgotten how to control her own body. Finally, she brought her hands down before her own face, letting her fingers wander up and down her face like kutsu. Don't know what that is. Ran pried her mouth open with her hands and finally let out a shriek. Without question, the corpse in front of her was the love of her life, Ann Sakura. Oh my god. Whoa! She's dead? Like literally, physically dead. Wow. There was a horizontal cut in the young woman's neck, which split the muscle and exposed blood vessels and vertebrae to the air. Massive amounts of blood had gushed forth from the wound, staining the collar of her shirt and continuing downwards to cover Ann Sakura's black outerwear with bloodstains. Looking up, Ran saw that Anne's long locks of hair had been splattered with blood, and in that moment she could only think that she ought to put those locks into her own mouth so that she could suck the blood out. What? Okay, weird. Anne always hated it when her hair got dirtied after all. All Ran could think of was how she had to get her hair clean immediately, or else Anne would surely be disconsolate about it later. Is that the right tense for that word? Such disjoint thoughts couldn't restore Ran's composure to her as she slowly looked downwards. There was a slight tilt to the old shower room's floor, which was causing the blood to flow towards the right. By now it had converged into a river. Blood pooled over the drainage gate, slowly dripping down, drop by drop into the shadowy drain. At that moment, the sound of the dripping slammed itself into Ran's sanity over and over like a sledgehammer. Ran fell to her knees. She barely managed to catch herself with her elbows, bringing her into contact with the still flowing blood. Looking down, she saw her newly red-stained hands and knees, and immediately arched her back and started tearing furiously into her own scalp. Nails scraped sharply against the skin, letting out spine-chilling sounds reminiscent of flesh being torn. Interspersed into it all was Ran's on and off weeping. Sakura! Ah! Anne! Ran's hand clawed even harder. Already there were traces of blood and skin stuffed under her fingernails. She felt like she was dangling on a spider's thread, that thread itself the only thing keeping her from losing her mind to hell. Okay, we're officially out of slice of life territory now. And the thing that had cast that thread in the first place was the mockery that the others had made of the murder with their playful words. Ibuki-san! Miho seized Ran's hands from behind. What are you doing? Miss Sakura's blood. I'm telling you, Anne's fine. You're the one who's really scaring me right now. Miho helped her up, but Ran immediately lost her balance and collapsed into Miho's back. Can't stand up. Miho held Ran's waist with her left hand and gently patted her back with the right. Ran shook her head, her whole body powerless. But then she suddenly awoke and seized the collar of Miho's uniform with a trembling hand. Which one of you six killed her? Who was it? Tell me! Please, just calm down and let us explain. Listen to you? I've been looking for her for so long, and I finally managed to see her again. So why did it have to be like this? Why did it have to be like this? Ran slowly released her grip on Miho's shirt as she wept unintelligibly. Miho didn't get angry with Ran's actions at all. She continued gently stroking Ran's back, trying to reassure her. She whispered quietly into Ran's ear. Ibuki-san, Anne's not dead. She'll come back to us. Ran shook her head furiously. I don't understand. I don't understand a word that you're saying. Don't keep making me. Soon the other students arrived on the scene as well. Ah, yep. Corpse sure is right there. I guess I really am the prime suspect then. Since it's near the swimming pool, let's presume that your owner is the killer for now and start investigating. I swear, Azakura. Then let's hurry up and begin. Let's solve this case quickly and wake Sakura-san back up so that we can cheer Ibuki-san up again, too. Kurizuma headed over to Anne's body and bent down, preparing to touch her. Don't touch her! Ran's reaction startled Kurizumi, who pulled her hand back immediately and leapt up into a stiff pose as though she was a misbehaving student who'd been told to stand in the corner and think about what she'd done wrong. Ran pushed Miho away and quickly stepped in front of Sai. I'm done with trying to understand what the hell you lot are saying. But you said people who die here can still come back to life, right? Tell me what I have to do. Ran-chan seems totally upset. Even though Ran's emotions had been heavily perturbed by the sight of Anne's corpse, she was very aware that her rationality hadn't completely shut down yet. She probably knew Anne before this. Well, she's already said to you that she knew her. She remembered that everyone at the scene had either directly or indirectly mentioned this completely incomprehensible idea that the dead would ultimately reawaken. She likely believes that Anne is truly dead, that's why she's acting like this. And based on their attitude to them, killing their classmates and reviving the dead was completely commonplace and mundane at this point. I heard her say in the classroom that she was looking for her missing girlfriend. If Ran hadn't noticed those things, she would long since have completely lost her sanity at Anne's death and allowed her condition to consume her. Could she have meant Anne? In fact, curiosity would probably have driven Ran to verify their outlandish claims anyways, and the victim here being anybody other than Anne Sakura. Girlfriend. Basically, what you need to know is to identify the culprit. What you need to do is to identify the culprit and recount the steps that she took to commit the murder. If you recount everything correctly, Sakura will come back to life. Since when did the two of you get so synced up? That's funny. How does the revival work? I can't imagine such a thing. First the wounds mend, then the blood regenerates, and last of all the heart begins to beat again. Before this, well, there was this one time that the culprit cut off all the limbs of the victim and hid them in different locations all over the school. They even cut open the victim's abdomen to expose their internal organs. Gross. Sai's expression grew complex and she shrugged before continuing. We got to see for ourselves the full process of the victim's revival that time, so trust me, with such relatively light wounds as these, Sakura won't take more than a few seconds to come back to life. Ran covered her mouth as she imagined the scene that Sai had described. The kind of revival she's talking about is the type that restores the existing body, while still retaining the soul of the deceased. That means it can't be the Golem delivery service. What? They reconstruct entirely new bodies for the dead without retaining the soul. Okay. Recorded the term the Golem delivery service. Let's check that out. Right. The Golem delivery service is a non-physical conceptual entity with the power to restore those killed by a certain method, the details of which are unclear due to Ranabuki's memory loss, to the state they were in 1 hour prior to dying. The revival discards the laws of physics and ends only when the one who is directly or indirectly responsible for killing the revived individual suffers brain death. In order to prevent the resurrected dead from being discovered by others, Ran has been obligated 3 times to personally restore them to their natural state of existence. What? Okay. Could it be Mr. Blood Sculptor? I remember that one could repair corpses by causing wounds to grow new tissue. Get the girlfriend thing. Ruki's gone mute again. I like this whole thing over here. It's kind of funny. I've never seen it operate on a corpse either. It's like this happens to her whenever she's thinking about something. Blood Sculptor. Mr. Blood Sculptor is a black-haired Maine coon house cat with scarlet eyes. Its vocal cords are standard for feline organisms, and thus it cannot produce human speech. However, it is capable of understanding spoken Punjabi, which has allowed it to enter into cooperative arrangement with Ranabuki. The Blood Sculptor is capable of sculpting blood into any and all forms of animal biological tissue without regard for the nature of the blood. It can create any species tissues out of any species blood, as long as it has sufficient understanding of the species and tissues involved. After Ran bought the Blood Sculptor 36 bags of PR brand frozen cat food and engaged in constant petting of the Blood Sculptor's head and stomach for 3 hours each day for 18 consecutive days, the Blood Sculptor agreed to use 10 gallons of whale blood to create a serpentine creature bearing features from many different organisms. The exact nature of this creature has been forgotten due to Ran's memory loss. The sculpted creature flew into the sky after 2 hours passed and disappeared. Cool, I guess. Asakura-san sometimes goes all quiet, gets all serious face too. Right, okay. I can't imagine what kind of power it'd take to enact revival on the original corpse itself. Is that so? I must have been thinking about you then. In fact, the conditions for resurrection being as bizarre as this perhaps is not a passive mechanism, but rather another conscious entity actively deciding whether the dead should be revived or not. Damn, I can't figure it out. If only Lady Ihara were here, she'd surely be able to see the answer instantly. Feels like I'm playing a game that's like the 4th in a series. I've recorded the term Miss Ihara. Oh, Ibira? But it says Ihara here. Oh, okay, I guess it's Ihara. Her full name is Yukari Ihara. According to her, this is a pseudonym. Apparently an ordinary human based on current recorded interactions between Ranabuki and Yukari Ihara. However, she possesses both exceedingly sharp intellect and deep insight into certain cognition distorting anomalies, the details of which are unclear due to Ranabuki's memory loss. Yeah. Both of which seem impossible for an ordinary human to possess. Ranabuki is on cordial terms with her and often receives her assistance. Miss Ihara claims she aids Ran because she sees many similarities between herself and Ran. How can you keep on going into mute mode like that? Ran sniffled a bit and forcefully wiped away her tears. Her eyes were still a little red from crying. I understand. I was going to find the culprit anyways, no matter what. And if this can bring back Miss Sakura's life, then all the better. And when that happens, I will take Miss Sakura away from this place. Well, you'll have to ask her permission for that, but I guess that's none of our business. Of course Miss Sakura will agree. After all, she's my girlfriend. Your girlfriend? Is that true? That's the first I've heard of it. Anna's never mentioned you to us before. Never mentioned me? What? Forget it. I can figure that out later. Ran turned and approached Anne's corpse. She kneeled down and brushed strands of her hair away from Anne's face, so that she could see it more clearly. The face she'd sought for so long made Ran's heartbeat almost stop for a moment, and she wanted to do nothing more than to pick Anne up and give her a deep kiss. But Anne Sakura's bloodless face and the stench of blood all around them forced her to remain calm. Please, just endure it for a little longer, Miss Sakura. I'll find the truth. No matter what the cause is, I've now been forced to participate in what they consider to be ordinary, everyday life. This school that's been isolated from the outside world for a year without being affected at all, the linguistic abnormalities, these students who murder each other and revive the dead by finding the culprit, and all the rest of the strangeness. I have to keep my wits about me, at all times. If I let myself believe, like they do, that all of this is completely normal, then it's possible that I'll never be able to get out of here. Miss Sakura, you have to wake up. Please. I'm nothing without you. Hinata, let's let Ibuki-san handle the coursework this time around. Sure. Koizumi Hinata only now seemed to have regained the wits she'd lost when Ran had berated her. She nodded her head in a panic, agreeing with Miho's statement. Let's do as Takai-san suggested. This will help Ibuki-san understand the coursework at our school more quickly as well. What's coursework supposed to mean? I don't know if you noticed or not, but on our syllabus, we only have classes in the morning, with every afternoon marked as free activities. This sort of situation is what we refer to when we say free activities. We consider this a part of our coursework as well. Under normal circumstances, we'd be competing with each other, but this time we'll let you handle it by yourself. We'll give you all the help you need. Feel free. All I want to do is find the killer. You people's rules are your own business. Ran took a deep breath, letting the stench of the blood and the pool's disinfecting scents mix together and flow, carried by her inhalation into her brain. It was like she'd injected a stimulant directly into her skull, and it slew each of her uncontrollable trains of thought. Ranabuki had returned to her normal state. Then, let's begin investigating the crime scene. Alright. I think this is a good time as any to call it an episode of Borderline Games. Okay, so from the very beginning of this episode to now, it's like a completely different game. So now we're investigating a murder, and it's a murder of our girlfriend who we've been trying to find. So what on earth is happening? What in the Danganronpa? I will see you next time. Have a good evening. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye. Bye.